Hello, beautiful shining stars. So in the background, I have Lakshmi full blast. I'm probably going to turn her down. So I love to work with Sanskrit and the mantras of manifestations. So Krishna is very powerful. Lakshmi, there's like a beautiful vibration to these beautiful Hindu goddesses. And I feel like it's more of a frequency and elemental vibration. I haven't incorporated that into my wealth classes, but I always tell you that in the background, I play certain frequencies and vibrations to lift you out of the lower vibrations and take you into the next. So this is Lakshmi Gavatri mantra, and it's of course to manifest prosperity. I'm gonna try to put it low because then it overpowers my voice. Now, we're still working. And I'm gonna do that to create. I'm just doing so much stuff that it gets overwhelming. And Spirit's like, Daisy, slow down. So I'm creating a confronting money listing, right? Of course, you're not gonna pay for it because you are part of my wealth class. So if you're here, it's because you purchased my wealth class, or you are, because this is evergreen. I don't know how long this is gonna be out. For now, this is 2023 and this is where I'm at, right? But this is evergreen because we're always trying to manifest wealth and prosperity. I wrote a super duper powerful blog post today, and I'm working a lot of posts, and I'm writing posts also for other blogs. And so you're going to probably start seeing my name in magazines and in places like that. Something I'm very, very proud of, something I've been working for a very long time, which brings me to what the topic of engagement in confronting money. So when we are in a low vibration, right? Sometimes we're not aware of it. I'm going to tell you how you know that you're in a low vibration. Usually it's my indication, okay, my vibration is not as high as I want it, is when I wake up in the morning, right? So I will wake up early in the morning, and if I feel down, if I have like a headache, sadness, anger's the worst. Anger is like, okay, there's a major disturbance in the force. Anything that just doesn't resonate with optimism, happiness, joy, especially when you wake up, it's a fresh day. So when you wake up, no matter if it's morning, midday, because sometimes I won't get out of bed till noon, depending on the work that I do the day before, you're supposed to be fresh because you just went into your other realm. You just went into your other reality. This is why it's so powerful. One of the meditations that I'm going to share with you into this class, it is great to do every single night, and it's so powerful to go to sleep, especially when you're in that theta. I don't know if it's theta or theta frequency, which is that in between being awake and in between going off to sleep world, right? So when you're in that energy and you do the work, that meditation that I'm going to share with you, which is beautiful Kabbalistic Hebrew energy, is everything that I talk is about the divine. I believe in God Almighty, and I share God as the divine because I don't see him. And I said him because that's the way you as a child are always portrayed, that God is some kind of man up there, just kind of putting the us in places. Like, did you guys ever see the original? And I'm an ophobie, but the original Clash of the Titans, which is super funny because if you're a Harry Potter fan, Professor McGonagall was in that movie. She was super duper young. This movie came out like 80s, right? Hardcore 80s. And I thought it was the most magical movie ever because it was very like fantasy. It was all, I love Greek mythology. I love the whole stories of the gods, of Zeus, of Poseidon. I love that. So Hercules. So in Clash of the Titans, the gods are sitting down, and it's almost like they have this arena, and there's this chessboard, right? And they would put the people, they would put them in different places, right? And that resonated because as a child, I felt like there were influences, which is true, okay? So let me get to, I want you to really take all this in. So there are influences. I should check. I smell the incense. I have my altars always going, and even though the candles are 70 candles, but I always like, you know, I've had hazards, so let me go check. Okay, no, everything's fine and dandy. Okay, so they're sitting in this arena, and they're just, we're gonna put this person with this person, we're gonna put this in their path. So they would literally just kind of shift things for people, right? And the whole thing was the Clash of the Titan. I forgot who he is. I don't know if he's Achilles, Hercules. I don't know who he is. I forgot. I know they redid the movies. Anywho, the whole point was that they were supposed to pair her with one of these demigods, right? But she never fell in love with him. Like, she didn't want to be with him. And it was like a big thing. And then one of the gods trying to, you know, go against free will to put them together. And then what happens, what was, he did something, and what occurred was that they, how was it that they punished him? So by punishing him, they made him into like a demon. You know, he had like a tail, and he was horrific. And okay, so long story short, we have influences, outer influences. They're constantly influencing our lives. And I kind of, like I said in the post that is not going to go live until tomorrow, it is very hard for you to control everything. So the only control you have is in your life. I mean, that's not the only control, but the main control that you have is in your life. So again, you're waking up in the morning, you don't feel, so that's how you know that your vibration is at a low. Sometimes you wake up in a good mood and something will happen. You either watch the news, somebody will call you, your beloved, friends, and you know, you go out and they kind of fuck with your vibration. So there is not that complicated, because then you have a choice there to say, okay, that happened. It really has nothing to do with me. How do I change that? Let me shift that vibration. Let me shift that energy. Now, when it comes to like outside noise, like per se, I have people that cast evil spells on me and stuff like that. What I do is I will freeze those energies, and I talk about freezing all the time. So there's lots of things that you could do in order to try to keep your vibration at a higher level, especially when you are trying to manifest and when you're like on the ground. As I expressed, I restarted my quest, and I want you to grasp this, people. I lost my last chunk of money September of 2021, I think was the date. And I was doing okay. It still wasn't bad. And you know, my guides were like, save money, save money, save money. It was on my readings, but I was doing okay. So I wasn't really paying attention to the signs. So yes, like I said, I have investments and I save money, but I also have a set mindset of I want to do it this way because I don't want to tap into that, right? I'm not going that low. So my point was, I'm going to take it from where I am right here, instead of putting myself more in the hole by going into my investments and my stuff and not touching that, because that's bringing me, and that there's certain investments that I started that are going to take probably years in order to me to see a fruition. I'm doing these investments because I'm thinking about my kids, right? They're my kids and my granddaughters, right? And whatever grandbabies come along the way. The point is that you guys always focus about right now. Right now. Commercials. This is the thing with these things. So I'm going to explain to you why I got into that rut again. So when Spirit was sharing with me that I needed to let go of the rituals because they were really bringing me a lot of negative energy, I was making a lot of money, especially with a very specific ritual. I was making $200 or $300 a day with that ritual. You don't know how many times I'm like, I'm going to do that ritual again. Because it wasn't that bad. It was more that people were very pesky. They were paying for a very inexpensive $22 ritual, and then they wanted me to serve everything on a platter for them. You know, it was, you know, because again, people like to manifest things right now. They want it to happen right now. And with spells and anything that we do, it is not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. This class is not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is how you react to things, how you pursue things, how you go from where you are, right? So if I would have maybe either changed my attitude and said, you know what, this brings me really good money, I'm just gonna like put those people on the back burner, you know, and work on myself not to allow their lower vibrations or their negative comments or whatever the fuck influence me. And instead I started complaining and complaining. Because unfortunately, one of my biggest flaws is I'm a complainer. That's a huge flaw. And sometimes it would get so bad, and I've been working about this my entire life. But sometimes it would get so bad that I wouldn't even recognize that I was complaining. I wouldn't even recognize that. So I slowly started closing that door. And eventually one day somebody left such a horrific review, again, allowing the outside noise to influence your progress. Well, I got so upset that I got rid of the listing. So that $200 and something, $300 that was coming in every single day completely shut off. Completely. And yes, I was still okay. I was still making money because, again, I have a lot of eggs in different nests. I have a lot of nests. That's what I meant. I have a lot of nests with different eggs in them, right? So it wasn't that bad, but that was like a very nice chunk of change that it didn't take a lot of my time. And I sabotaged it because of my complaining. And then it paired up with Etsy's algorithm shift, and they put in that star seller thing. And even though they're like, oh, it's not going to impact you, it did. Because then my other items, if I had, like, let's say if I had a certain amount of orders in queue, because I had energy to them, you know, every time somebody buys an oil, I just by their buying it, I add their energy and I bless it so that when they get it, it manifests whatever it is that they're intending for that oil or that ritual or whatever it is, right? So sometimes that'll take me a day, 2, 3, 4, to 1 to 2 weeks. It depends on what they purchase, right? Anywho, if I had more than 10 orders in queue, Etsy somehow, I don't know how they did it, because again, it was algorithms. I don't know anything about that. My shop would not show up as it was showing up in the first, you know, top pages, right? So it's almost like they would punish us. Which I thought was horrible, because we're Etsy, we're handmade, and we're not Amazon. And, you know, we all cried wolf, and we started messaging, and made it worse. Because when I went to the forums and I started messaging and, hey, is anybody going through this? Then I had the haters, the Christians that hate that we sell spiritual stuff on Etsy, gang up on me. And then I had a couple people that went into my shop and they complained about things. Etsy doesn't know that they're trolling, or, you know, how's it called? How does that call? When somebody's gonna throw a bullet at you? Well, whatever. The point is that they took away more listings. And then I had to go into open cases and go to Etsy and explain what happened. And then, long story short, I went from $11,000 months in Etsy all the way to $1,000. I lost so much money. It was crazy. And again, I'm trying to, like, I have my own calls. By that time, I still had an on-call client who had just paid me $10,000 for my services. I had, you know, other things, my books. So I always have multiple streams of income. But here I am trying to get into my multi-million-dollar mark. And it was all my fault, because I started the ripple effect. I started complaining. Do you see how that works? At the moment, I didn't see it. It took me actually months to recognize, because I went into meditation state when I got to the point that I was like, I was literally about to turn off Etsy. I was so upset at Etsy, and Spirit's like, you need to relax, because you're just going to make it worse. Because I tend to be very reactive. I tend to, like, I don't like sit down, you know, even though I go into meditation and I do all that stuff, I'm very reactive. When certain things happen, I just like react. So long story short, I went into meditation state, and it told me, don't close the shop, just allow what it is. And you need to, if this is really, you know, bringing you down, you need to get away from like rituals altogether. If this is really causing a negative effect, just get away from rituals altogether. So I did. I got rid of my Venus, and you know, I think now I only have 2 communities for the full moon and the new moon, because they're very simple, and I love to use the vibration in the background for anybody that comes to the video, no matter what it is. I still have people that go into my Venus rituals that I did like 2 years ago, and comments like, oh my god, I love the energy, just listening to this I felt better, and they like manifest just through the frequency of the video. So I'm like, wow, this is super awesome. And that's why I put the new moon and full moon on my Etsy. And so far, those are the only rituals that I have. I do not know if I'm going to do communication, because like I said, I really want to shut down the whole doing rituals. I only do it for my uncles, because they pay me a chunk of change for me to do the work for them. So long story short, I pretty much started over, because then I had to tap into my savings, because my savings, I wasn't making the $11,000 at that time. I was a full supporter of my house, because my husband didn't have a job yet. This was still like getting out of COVID state. So it was all on me. Do you understand? The reason I'm sharing this with you is because we all go through this. This is part of our human life. It's us learning from the mistakes that we made, and we're not always going to be happy, hunky-dory, unicorns and butterflies. We're going to have meltdowns. We're going to tell people to fuck off, and doors will close and new ones will open. So what happened was the whole scripting started happening, and it was because of a client came to me, and we started talking about scripting, and I started creating scripts for her, and she started seeing manifestations just by me writing the script. That became a monthly thing that I would do. And as a matter of fact, today I'm actually going to do an email blast for a special one-time offer scripting. So I'm excited about that. When one door closes, more doors open. The problem is that when we are in that, oh my god, I don't know what to do, everything is falling apart. When we're in that meltdown stage, we just create more meltdowns. This meltdown, because we're in that stage, because we're just like, and then tomorrow's an even bigger meltdown, and the next time, you know, and then like right after that, I got in a car accident, and then right after, like it was because I went from meltdown to meltdown to meltdown, and you're constantly creating, and that's what we don't grasp. That's what we don't grasp. And it took me a long time, almost 2 years after this occurred, because think about it, we're in 2023. So it wasn't until really of December 2022 where I sat with God and I said, teach me. I said to God, I said, I might have been November, I'm not even sure. I said, teach me and I will teach others. Get me out of this, teach me how to get out of this and never come back in this place. Never, ever, ever come back into this place. And I will teach this to others. So here I am, creating these courses to teach you. So Bob Proctor said it very well. He says, and I wish I would have written it down. He says, you are constantly in a frequency. It is up to you to decide to stay in that frequency or to leave that frequency. So when you get up in the morning and you're in that shit mood, my rent's due, I don't have the money yet, the bill collector called, a negative fucking review on Etsy, because that's where it all started, was that negative fucking review. Whatever, your mother called you almost every day. So we're, you know what, life is constantly happening, you know, we're like constantly being throwing oddballs every day, one after the other, and it's just so fucking overwhelming that it's just like, oh my gosh, like when is it gonna stop? And I would go into complete meltdowns. So when I find myself in that energy of, you know, okay, I say I'm gonna go meditate. So what I'll do is I'll meditate. Sometimes it's great, sometimes I'm 10 minutes done, I am out of that rut. I feel good. I feel uplifted. I could take, I could keep going. Sometimes it's 30. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes I'll meditate and I get more pissed. So when that happens, I know that I need complete, this is stealth mode, people. This is when I go into hermit and people are like, Daisy, are you alive? So what I'll do is I'll usually go, I'll get into bed. Sometimes I'll even pop a Xanax. I'm being very honest. I'm very real. I'm fucking human. So I'll buy me some chocolate, chamomile, a Xanax. I'll get in bed. I'll pop on some Harry Potter. One Calls the Heart, The Witch's Garden. I will watch only things that uplift me, that'll put me in a good vibration and in a better mood. And sometimes I will sleep the entire day away. Not like sleep, but like mellow, watch TV, fall asleep, wake up, mellow, watch TV. Eat hearty, feel good, soulful type foods. I'll have like yummy stuff, just like really good stuff, like very Cuban steak, rice, black beans, totone, like very hearty meals that feel good, no guilt, and then usually that'll only last one day, but I will still stay in hermit because now I went through that, I crashed, so now I'm taking the baby steps to bringing myself up, so then the next day I'll meditate. And then I'll start writing and I'll start journaling and I'll start scripting and slowly, and then I start working again. Sometimes when I'm in that rut, I have to cleanse and clear the whole house. Get on my altars, even if the candles had just been lit, and throw it all the way. And then I have to go to all the clients. Hey, there was, dark energies in my house. I was in a low vibration. I'm very honest with my clients. And I think that's why they stick with me, because they know that I'm going to tell them how it is. You're not going to come to me and I'm going to be like, everything's peaches and cream. No, if I'm in a low vibration, guess what? Everything needs to be fresh. So what I do is I will clean house. I will clean my floors, make sure that all the dishes are clean, make sure all the trash is out of the house, vacuum. I mean, anything and everything that I could do to cleanse and bring my home into that uplifted state. I usually do sea salt baths, scrubs, wash my hair really, really good. I just really clean everything. And I guarantee that you do that major cleanse. I'm not telling you to pop Xanax. That major cleanse, and you're going to feel better. You are going to feel like a brand new person. And then you get into the co-creation state. And like I said, this takes days, this takes weeks, this takes months. Some of you come to me and you're like, Daisy, this is happening, I don't know what to do. You created this somewhere. Something happened along the way that this happened. Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes is you're trying to get to another level, and in order to get to that level, you have to lose that job. You have to lose that lover, that spouse, that friend, whatever the fuck. It has to happen in order for you to go and get what you desire and you intended way back when. And usually we get signs so we could get ready for the impact or create the change before the impact. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't see them, you don't recognize them, whatever. When I first did my first scripting class, it was just me and Priscilla. It was just two of us. It was just me and Priscilla. And there was another girl, and she was in such a dark state. I still can't get to her. I sent her love and healing, and every time I do my script, I will script, Monica's fine. Oh my God, I said her name. I shouldn't have said her name. Well, I actually have 4 Monicas that are my, whatchamacallit, my clients, excuse me. So, usually I will script for her, and I'll, send her love. I script for all of my clients. I script for all of them. I will sit down in my scripts, and I will script that this person is doing great, that this person is doing that, or I'll just bless them in general. You see it in my emails. When I'm sending a new product, I always say that, it goes to the masses, and every single person that does the work is blessed. So a couple of weeks ago, this beautiful client, I love her name. I think it's like Valentine, beautiful person. She's actually doing a testimonial for me, so I'm sharing her. She came to me with a dire situation. Of course, I won't go into specifics because that's confidential. But I said, she bought, okay, so she, and I think I talked about this before, she had bought 2 of my manifesting 555 energy because she needed some fast cash. She's like, Daisy, I need the money yesterday. This is happening. I need the fucking money. So I was like, you know, that's a printable. It's not a ritual. So a lot of the time people don't read because they just like, oh my God, I want this. So they don't read that they have to do it themselves. So I refunded her because she bought 2 and you only need 1. It's a damn printable. But she was very honest. She goes, I used my last $11 and I purchased this because I felt like Spirit says to buy this. And I refunded her and I said, well, Spirit brought you to the right place. And I go, I canceled the orders, but I sent her everything anyways. And then I said, this is the magic that I use. And I sent her the videos of the magic that I use. And I said, here's the thing. You have to do this every single night before you go to bed, which is when I'm sharing this and the whole confronting money thing that I'm doing. Of course, you guys get it all first before it launches anywhere else. So this is the Hebrew Kabbalistic energy. Not only that, she had purchased the ritual that I have to use that energy from my Etsy shop. And I think it's super funny because that ritual barely sells. I might sell maybe 2 or 3 of them a month. Sometimes it even goes a month that I don't sell not one. And that is the most powerful money manifesting ritual if you actually do it. The thing is that people don't like to do stuff. Everybody wants everything yesterday. Everybody wants everything to happen right now. And they only want to do, like, I remember somebody bought my communication audio and they're like, do I have to listen to the whole thing? No, don't listen to the whole thing. As a matter of fact, don't do it. I'm just like, oh, I get so frustrated with people. Anywho, so the point is that we're going to always go through stuff. We're always going to go through it. And I share my stories because I want you to know that I go through it too. I just now I'm in a place where I will never go back to the place that I was in early 2000s. Never, ever. That will never happen again. I will go and get 3 jobs before I allow that to happen again. So if you are feeling intuitively guided to get a side gig while you're still working on your stuff, go get the side gig. There is no harm. You need to shut ego up. Shut it up. Shut it up. When I went through that stage, I opened other side gigs. Like I said, I started selling stuff on eBay. And you know, and it was like, I don't even like eBay at all. But I did that because, okay, like I lost a major income. I have to now keep myself stable until I get into my next. So this is what happened. When the first course was just me and Priscilla. This class was just 4 of us. 4. I remember the first day, I think what really made me super sad was that I blasted the email to over 300 people and it was crickets. Not one person saying thank you, or, I mean, even if they would have been like, unsubscribe, I didn't get anything. Nothing. I got 1 email back. And it was from this Dark Lala, who I did so much work for him for free for 3 months. Because I really was so compassionate. And I'm like, you know, because he's like, boo-hoo, I'm homeless. I have 3 kids. They're cutting my light. I just got in an accident. So I did all this work for him. I did scripts. I charged $333 a month for the scripts that I was doing for him for free for 3 months. That's $1,000 of work that I did for free. And yes, he started feeling it. But when I blasted the $55 wealth class, he messaged me and said, I apologize. I'm sorry, Daisy. I wish I could pay for the $55 class. It's just that my kids come first. And I might go into a shelter in a few weeks. I might be homeless in a few weeks. And the whole email was his homelessness again, his not being able to pay the light, how he got in an accident. He didn't have to send me that. He didn't have to reply. So you're doing, and this is what we do. And I see this over and over and over. I script for certain people, and we're doing the script. I'm doing the script. And then when they email me, Daisy, it hasn't worked. It's been 2 weeks and I haven't seen anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so sad because it has not worked. I'm just like devastated. So why'd you script? Because everything that we've been scripting for, you just pooped on with that one email. Here's a perfect example. If I have 100 positive reviews, 5 stars, all 5 stars, 100%, 2 people leave me, not even one person leaves me a 1-star review because they can't leave less because they're pissed because I ruined their lives. My rating plummets from one review. 100 amazing reviews do not count because of that one review. That's the same thing when manifesting. One negative email of how your life is shit, even though we've been scripting for 2 weeks and oh my God, you haven't seen the results, you just plummeted. And we all do that. We all do that because we don't grasp that. So because of that email from him, Spirit told me, I cried. I was so devastated because at that point, I only had the one person because she told me, and she, from the get-go, she's very loving and very supportive. All 4 of you are. But this one person's been with me for a while, and she literally is going through stuff. And she tried to buy the class way from the beginning, and she even had problems like paying for it because of some issue with my webpage. She was the first one that signed up, and the only one. And I was like, it doesn't matter. She bought the class, and I'm still doing this class because this class is going to be a bestseller, and this class is going to change the lives of the masses, and this class is going to really cause a ripple effect in everyone's lives. And that's when I said to God, how do I change this? Why do I keep bringing these lower vibrational people that I allow in my personal space? Why do I keep bringing them into my home? Keep bringing them into my phone? Why do I do that? How do I stop that? And that's when they showed me the whole, in the ocean. If I'm going to be the teacher, if I'm going to be the one that shifts your vibration, I cannot sit with you and hold your hand. I extend the rope. I throw the lifesaver so you could take a hold of it and get on board. I'm not getting in the ocean, the dark waters with you. I'm not going to sit and play your victim energy. I'm not. So I replied to him. And I was very loving, and I said, listen, so-and-so, you're absolutely right. The work that we've done has not worked for you. I said, I send you love and blessings. You have all the tools that I gave you for the last 3 months, all in your hands. You could tap into that. You could use it over and over and over, but I am no longer a part of this. I can't do it anymore. And on another note, scripting is writing your life. So if you script in your journal about all the wonderful things that are happening in your life, and then you send me an email about all the horrible realities that you're facing, you just created your story again as the victim. He didn't reply. And that's fine. If he's upset, he's upset. I stated my truth. I I'm not going to do it. I unsubscribed him. I unsubscribed him. He still has access to, like I said, to the classes, to the all the work that I did for him. He has it all. He has everything. But I'm not, and I took myself out of that. And then that just caused a ripple effect. So I still have clients that I'm doing scripts for them, but that they, for some reason, because I guess I'm so personal, I'm very loving. I am very personal, very loving, and I connect. In order for me to do the work for you, I have to connect with you. But it doesn't mean that I connect with you in such a way that we're going to hang out, drink coffee, and I'm going to take you out of the rut. I'm going to write you that $1 million checks. And I feel like that's how people see me. They think that I'm just going to sit with them, and you know, and which is great in the aspect that I want them to feel comfortable with me, but then there's no barrier, there's no balance, there's no, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sharing this with you because I know this happens to you, because I hear this from you in work. Oh, I'm working and my boss thinks that she could run all over me, or he could run all over me. And you know, I share this with my daughter all the time. You know, like, she had a boss that is so shitty to everyone, and it's because she's going through some really hardcore personal stuff, because I had to look into her personal space, and that's what made the decision of, should I freeze the bitch or should I bless the bitch? So what I did is I astrologically I astral projected myself in my daughter's workspace, and I sat with her etherically, which I shared with you, or I shared in one of the scripting classes. I don't know if I shared that with you. So and that's what I do with you guys, with the ones I script for. You send me and I sit there and I look at your energy and vibration, and I see what's going on, like what needs to change and what I could work on to create the outcome that you desire. But again, all of that takes time. When you are confronting what does not work, it is at the worst time in our lives. And I'm sharing all of this, and I know it's okay, it's all about Daisy, but it is not, because I speak to you from a personal perspective of what is my life. But I'm also sharing what happened to that victim that I worked for 3 months. And as I'm doing the work for him, he doesn't know that the accident that he had is actually a blessing in disguise, because I saw money coming his way. I see a nice chunk of change coming his way, and that's going to take him out of that rut. But if you are constantly the victim, even if he gets 10, 15, 20, $100,000, you hear about people that win the lottery all the time and they lose it all within a few years, or sometimes less, because they have that mentality, So how do you change that? By doing the work that we're doing, by doing principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you have to, you start again. Do you know how many times I've started principle 1? Oh my God. That is like the hardest principle for me, because as a matter of fact, this week, so there's something going on with, I guess everybody's really going through it, and I wanted to share it with you, even though this is evergreen. The energy right now is an energy of holding our prosperity. The energy is holding our prosperity. I noticed it, of course, for me, and I noticed it because all of you guys are like, Daisy, I'm doing all the work, I don't understand what's going on. So I'm like, okay, and I need to do a video on YouTube to talk about that. So when that happens, you have to stay in the manifesting. And a lot of people don't understand that, because we get frustrated. I'm the first one who gets frustrated. I have a heart to heart with God, and I'm like, what's going on? This is no. And then they'll show me, okay, do this and that, and this is going to happen. I think my last one was, you said in March. You said March was it. We're in March. And then they're like, yes, March is the end of it. But we're not like out of that energy yet. So I'm like, okay. So today I got my first confirmation that we're coming out of that energy. And I will be sharing about it too. I'm not sharing yet because it has to do with something I'm working on. So I never share what I'm manifesting until after, because you don't want any dark lalas, and that's very important as well. So I know this is a lot, people. We're like 40 minutes in. When you find yourself in that energy, you go into the meditation state to bring up your vibration. what happens in that state, either in that state, you're going to get ideas. Things are going to get ideas. And if that idea is to get a side gig, go get that side gig. If that idea is to start a new project, go start that new project. But always remember, it is not going to take you out of the hole in 24 hours. It can. Like I said, and I say it over and over, I can have 2 clients sign up for my $10,000 listing, and I am back where, you know, I'm back in peaches and cream era. You know, I'm here doing good. But if not, I still have to do the work. I can't say, well, damn it, that listing's been there for 3 months and nobody's bitten, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. No. Instead, ideas come in. Like I had yesterday 2 major ideas, still working on one of them because I got super busy yesterday. So what I said what happened was, usually like I'll pay my bills on time, but sometimes we're late. And this month I was late on my light. It was $300 freaking dollars. $300. They cut it. They cut it. And I was scrambling. I called and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe. And the worst part, people, was that 2 days before that, Spirit said, Daisy, don't forget to pay your lights. Don't forget to pay your light. And I had the money. My deposit had came in, and I paid the phone and the internet and stuff, because you know, it's the stuff that I work with, and I completely forgot about the lights. Completely. And we're budgeting. Did you see our budget? I think I even wrote that like was late on my budget. So wait, I want you to sit down because you need to hear this. So then I had a like, it was like my mind was like overworking, because I do worry about my son and my granddaughter. So like that's like weighs really heavy on me. And I feel like a lot of the reasons why I do the investing and stuff like that is because I want my girls to grow up and have such a big chance, because they've had such a rough childhood, like such a rough childhood. So that's like weighs hugely on me. So I was in that zone and I couldn't sleep. So I had to put on my rain. And then my husband woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and he woke me up. And I got up with him, and you know, I went to the bathroom, and you know, and then I went and I made him a sandwich and stuff. And then I was like, okay, you know what? It's still really early. I mean, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna go back to bed. I could not fall asleep. I could not. So I put on the rain and I went into the meditation, because like I tell you, when you wake up in that overwhelming, overbearing stuff is, you know, what's going on frequency, I go into that meditation and I connect with Spirit so they could give me pointers of what I need to do to get out and to fix it, you know. So the alarm went off at 10 in the morning, and Spirit's like, get up and make yourself coffee. I was like, but I'm still tired, I'm still groggy, I'm gonna stay in bed a little longer. All of a sudden the rain turns off and I jump out of bed and I hear they cut the lights. And I was like, no. I'm like, Spirit, why didn't you tell me? And they're like, we told you to make coffee. So then I'm scrambling. My son's coming out of the room, and we're passing the money to the account to put it all, because I have money on this account and money on that account, and I needed to pay the whole $300. So we pay the money, and it took like 15-20 minutes to put the light back on. And the whole time was like over an hour, and I hadn't had my coffee, and you were just dreading the whole thing, and all because I didn't call the light, you know, 3 or 4 days ago when Spirit told me, Daisy, don't forget the light. So I called them and I said, hey guys, you guys never do this to me. You know, I wasn't upset, because I love paying my bills. I love paying my bills. I don't resent my bills. I love my light. I love my light. I'm not going to resent my bills, right? So I called and I'm like, hey, what's going on? You guys never cut the light for 1 month. Like, what's going on? And she explained to me that the thing is that they have so much money on hold because people are not being able to pay their bills. So that's how I know that astrologically something is going on, that the money it's like held. And then you have, of course, all the negative people, all the influencers, the governments, the media, the news telling you the recession, and there's no money, and eggs are $12 a dozen. So that brings a lot of negativity over cash flow. So that's what's going on. And this happens all the time, because on a positive note, one of my own calls says, Daisy, I just got 2 bonuses. Daisy, I just got this. Daisy, so because she's in another frequency. Because she's in another frequency. So when you are at a different frequency, and I've seen this happen to me so many times, that my clients are like melting. And I'm just like, oh, high frequency. Everything's going good. Manifesting. Money's coming in. Clients are coming in. My health is amazing. I'm vacationing, everything, flow. When you're on that frequency, do not complain. On the contrary, open up more frequencies. Start investing in other things. Start opening other doors. Really important when you're in that frequency, because what happens is you conform. Everybody gets, and that's what happened to me. I think it was 2013 when I opened my Etsy shop. I started doing awesome. I only had Etsy, and I had Etsy around on YouTube, but YouTube was very slow for me. It always has been. I don't know. Maybe this year I'll make my first 100,000 subscribers and monetize. I still make money from YouTube because that's where I meet people. They come in, Pinterest, YouTube, but like I don't make money from YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? So in 2013, I put everything in Etsy. Etsy was my bread and butter. I was making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and all of a sudden, Etsy decided that they didn't want witchcraft on their shop, and they got rid of all of us. And who did great? Lisa Beachy did great because she had her YouTube and her meditations and her readings and everything on the side. She's doing amazing. Sage God is a multimillionaire. She opened up her shop. A bunch of them did really good, and a bunch of us had to start all over. And I was one of those. I was one of the ones that had to start all over. So I learned from that. And thank God at that time, I still had Blog Talk Radio. So I still had like a little bit of clients that would come through me through that, but it wasn't a lot. It was never like Etsy. So and I still had Etsy, like I never closed it. But they had deactivated all my listings. And I think it was one of my clients that told me, Daisy, did you see Etsy has witchy stuff on it again? And that was like, I think might have been 2018. So then I added like little stuff, but I had a job. I had a job, which I love my job, which I was doing really good in. So then my spiritual stuff was a side gig, was like a hobby. I did a video here and there. I did stuff on Etsy here and there. So it was like a side gig bringing me money, but it wasn't like, my job was the one that was keeping me afloat. So it really, I kind of blew up again in almost during COVID. And then in COVID is when I lost my shit because of everything that was going on, and I connected with Spirit, and then they showed me the Hebrew energy of Kabbalah, and I haven't looked back. Because even, like I said, even in September 2021, where that door closed, I was maintaining the whole household still. The entire household. And giving money to my kids. And investments everywhere. And my gold and silver. So it's getting yourself to a place. And when you get to that place, even when shit falls down, and this is the difference between the millionaires and the poverty-stricken people. The poverty-stricken people will burn every single bridge. They will tap all the investments. They will go through all their money, and they will burn it all until they have nothing. And the wealthy people don't do that. Nope. The wealthy people will fix what they have right there. They will work with what they have, and they will build until they get up to the level that they were at. And then from there, they grow more. Look at the people, like you could see the difference between millionaires and billionaires. Like millionaires are always millionaires. Oprah, even though that she's known for being a billionaire, she's actually a millionaire because she loves to give money away. Loves to give money away. And that's her thing. She's like, I am really comfortable. Am I multi-millionaire? She's of course a high, she could touch billions, but she loves nonprofits. She loves serving. She loves gifting. She is always doing stuff. Always, always, always. She loves to help people grow, invest in them. Who's another one? Okay, so let's end it because I had to like pause it and then lost track of top. So the difference between millionaires and billionaires is because we create a status, and thousandaires, because you get comfortable. Like I remember I used to be comfortable just having enough to pay my bills. I was like, I used to shop and do this and do that, and I was happy because I knew that my bills were met. So it wasn't really until the whole thing with COVID that I was like, holy shit, I need to have a cushion of at least 6 months, so if this happens again, I'm not melting. So that kind of like opened up that reality set, right? Because I feel like a lot of the times you're like, because we always want to be millionaires. Like who doesn't go play the lottery thinking I'm going to win the lottery? But it's not something that we see for ourselves. So until you actually see yourself as a millionaire and start acting and doing things that millionaires do and thinking like millionaires think, you are not on that frequency. So how do you get on that? By studying your own millionaire status. Saying, okay, Daisy, if today I had $1 million in my bank account, how would I be acting? What would be the things that I would do? And then go and fucking do them. And that's how I'm changing my reality. And that's how I manifest the money that I manifest and do the things that I do. And those principles that you are learning in this wealth course are the pivotal point to getting into the status that you want to be. Because it might not be $1 million. It might just be $100,000 in your bank account, but it might be that you want to be a billionaire. I have a client who's talking about she wants to be a trillionaire, but you have to start where you are today and then escalate. I send you love and blessings, and like I said, I'm going to do a whole segment of just confronting money and having it work for you. Namaste.